Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the number one growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monte and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monte and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monte the Pharaoh, Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
Hey guys, this is Mike Monty, co-host of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, produced out of Indie Music TV in Long Island, New York. Listen, we're about to talk about charity promotion. Are you registered to vote? HeadCount is a nonpartisan organization that works with music and entertainment industry to get fans to vote. To update and check your voter registration status, go to headcount.org, where you'll find your information you need to be ready for election day. Now, again, wrestling fans, this is important, right? You're making a difference. Join Monty and the Pharaoh. Use your right to vote. This is one great thing that people from this great country have to do. So again, go to HeadCount. Find out where you have to register. Go to headcount.org. This is Mike Monty from Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. Have a great one. And don't forget, vote.
changing hands in, the home of the Masters and many others. And there you see a very dejected Harley Race, former world heavyweight champion. But the man, I think Mr. Crockett has proved once again, though, that Harley Race is certainly an outstanding champion. There's certainly nothing to be taken away from that man.
Oh, that's right. He's a world-class wrestler, but I think Tommy Rich has proved that he's in the same class with Mr. Harley Race.
And so that means, obviously, Tommy, that your number one sights are set on Harley Race once again.
Well, that's exactly right, Gordon. You know, and thing, I guess it makes me the proudest of all that I did come back to Georgia, and I did win the belt right here in Georgia, and the people, just like I've said, they've been behind me 100%. And all I can say is I hope I do get another chance at Harley Race, and when it's over, I'll walk out on top.
I feel very confident by the comments from Mr. Jim Crockett, the president of the NWA, that chance will come in the very, very near future. Thanks so much. What a schedule you've been under.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you. James Crockett, president of the NWA, and Tommy Rich, Tommy Wildfire Rich. We'll be back in a minute.
All right, welcome to Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, seen only here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board, as usual, is our super producer, Matt. How are you, Matty?
Good as usual. How are you doing?
It's good to see you. We missed you last Thursday.
Yes, it was quite a trip.
All right, and to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, man?
Greetings and salutations. Back again.
So, coming off the Bill Apter show, thoughts? Any feedback? So we weren't on Thursday due to these special shows we're having today.
Well, I totally nerded out. I love Bill Apter, and growing up back in the MAG days as we did, does it really get any better than that? I mean, for us?
No, I don't think it
Come
does.
on. Love Bill Apter. Great guest. Awesome sense of humor.
I don't think it gets any better
funny
when we
man.
introduced the guest today. But first,
No, not really.
First,
No.
I'd like to thank the band who sings the Monte The Pharaoh theme song. Jimmy Pharaoh's own band, along with his partner Bart Griggs. They have compiled the band called Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings our theme song, Riding High. They also sing In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. And you can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. Monte The Pharaoh could be seen on YouTube, the Monte The Pharaoh page, Facebook Live, the Monte The Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monte The Pharaoh page, RTF Sports Network, which has now been changed to All Access Sports. Did I tell you that?
No.
All Access Sports Network.
Okay.
Every Thursday.
I think I like that more.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I think I like this little access card with, you're actually going into the locker room.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
All right, well, their anchor show every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m., and then the replay is on Mondays from 10 to 11 a.m.
Okay.
You could also catch us on cable television, channel 115, every Tuesday, the reduced version.
Why do you always call it the reduced? It's the abbreviated version.
There you go.
It's the edited abbreviated. It's not reduced. You make it sound like it's got some sort of problem in bed. That's terrible.
Well,
Reduced. Go on.
I might have that problem, too. From 8:30 to 9 p.m., and for the early risers on Channel 115 at 6 a.m. to 6:30, and also Channel 20 every Saturday morning for the late-night partiers at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's my kind of time.
And you'll be able to catch our special guest on the reduced version?
You're doing abbreviated. Please, go on.
Our special guest and former, and this is big, NWA heavyweight champion Tommy Rich. We will get back to Tommy Rich right after this commercial break.
Wildfire. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York.
Ronkonkoma,
Hello.
boop boop,
Anyway.
ba-doo-doop, mana. Go on.
Well, this is a holy shit moment for us, right?
Yeah.
We've got fucking Tommy Rich in studio, and I don't think I'd ever think I'd see this day, dude. This is our honor. Bro, you are our introduction to non-WWE, or back then, WWF product.
Yes.
The former NWA champion.
Hey, well, I'm going to say something, too. You know, somebody say something about the Monte The Pharaoh show, man. It's nationwide, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I've heard about it. I've seen it. I've seen it on everything. I followed it on Facebook, everything, on the internet. And, hey, look at here. Tommy Wildfire Rich is here in live, living color, baby. Somebody say something about Fighter.
Oh, man.
How you holding up through this COVID era and this political unrest in this country right now, Tom?
Shoot, me and my wife, we had a little run-in with it when it first started back in March, man. I'll tell you what, it's a real deal. Kind of like me being the real deal. No, but, it's tough, and, it's...
So you guys caught the COVID?
Yes, sir, we had
so
it.
Can you tell the fans out there what it's like to have it? Or
well, lucky for us, my wife, she has high blood pressure and a couple other things, and, I'm at that age now where they say, you're more vulnerable, but we was down in Myrtle Beach, and it was staying, because everything had shut down, and, we wasn't even really around nobody. We went to the ocean a few times, but everything else was shut down, and about after a month being there, my wife said she didn't feel good, so we went home, and sure enough, we both tested. We had it, had to go in quarantine for 2 weeks, and just lucky we didn't either one have to go to the hospital. I mean, that was a blessing, thank the Lord. And, anybody that's had it or lost someone, I'd just like to say, heart's with you, man, especially for those that's lost people, family with it, because it is hard. For about a month after, I was still getting headaches.
Wow.
But now, I'm all good now.
Did you have a fever? Were you coughing? Like, what was it like?
That's the way my wife was like that. Me, I was kind of sitting down on the throne for a lot,
Yeah.
And spitting up some, and I lost my taste. And I just got my taste back. They said that's one of the things you lose, and that's a real deal because I lost mine, but now I've got it back, and everything's good. Of course, we quarantined for 2 weeks and went back in, and they tested us, and everything was, good. We was good to go. Give us that clean bill of health, thank God. But, it's hey, like I said, just you got to keep fighting, man, and we'll come out on the other side of this when it's all said and done. I know it's tough on a lot of folks, a lot of businesses, and just all of those in need, man. The heart's out with you, prayers with you. And like I said, it's just a pleasure to be here, getting to travel again. I've been locked up for so long, and locked up ain't my style. So it's a pleasure to be here, being a Long Island man, and just sitting with some friends, man, that enjoy wrestling and getting to shoot the breeze with y'all out there, man. It's a pleasure.
Well, I got to tell you, it's our honor to have you here. You are an icon in this business, and we use the word icon every so often. You are an icon. We lost Road Warrior Animal a couple of weeks ago.
Man. I had some of the first matches with them guys. They come in from Minnesota, and I can't remember who my partner was, but I think we had one of their first TV matches with them. And they just beat the dog stink out of us. Of course, that's all they knew how to do. They were bouncers to begin with. And, I guess I only found them up there or something. I don't know what the whole deal was. But anyway, they was there at TV, and they was wrestling. And I tell you what, two great guys. And it's a big loss for the wrestling world, their families, and, and all the wrestling fans out there, because they were two class guys.
You ever been hit that hard the first time you got in the ring with those two? Had you ever been hit that hard in the ring? Is it true how stiff they were?
Hit hard. I mean, but back when I started, I got hit hard by a lot of them.
Okay.
Abdullah Butcher, he could hit pretty hard too.
There's our old buddy Abdullah.
Yeah, so I mean, it just, but they would probably, and they would just go 100 miles an hour. It wasn't no stopping with them. They was out there and they would just go, and yeah, you fought for your life, but two great guys, man. And, at the end of the day, after you got to know them and everything, two fine guys.
Well, let me ask you, they worked stiff with you even though they were green and you had this reputation, they were still stiff with you?
Well, that's all they knew. They were stiff with everybody. yeah. But as time went on, we learned to dance together. I call it dancing.
Right.
And the more we danced together, the smoother it got. And I mean, it's like one night we wrestled Road Wars, me and Jerry Lawler, and they wanted to eat my lunch, and they wouldn't do it because we had built a bond, and I've just always respected them guys, and like I said again, it's a great loss to their family and the wrestling world, man.
Did anybody ever object to their working so stiff in their early days? Did some of the veterans come up to them and go, "What are you doing?" Or were they so physically imposing that they commanded respect right from the start, even though they were fresh into the business?
Well, you got to remember, like, I mean, at the beginning, the Funks and all them guys, they fought hard anyway. Mm-hmm. When I come in, I got my ass whooped quite a few times, I mean, you can call it Hollywood, but a lot of times it wasn't. I mean, you got in there and fought. It was wrestling. I mean, when I started, I mean, it was like I went to wrestling school, and I learned that there, and I wrestled in high school. But when you got in, especially me, I was like a kid in there with grown men, and so it was easy for them to whoop my ass if they wanted to. But I got in there and I had the heart and desire and the passion, and they all seen that. I mean, I get goosebumps still today because I met some of the greatest people in the world that if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't even be a Tommy Rich. They could have made me or break me just as quick, and because they took an interest in me, give me an opportunity, and I went out there and busted my ass all the time, and they always seen that. So I mean, shoot, like Stan Hansen, I mean, he was a clubber, I wrestled him.
Well, he couldn't see you. He didn't have,
Yeah, well, I think that was part of it. I think he just liked to hit you hard too.
Oh yeah. One of the parts of your meteoric rise back in the early 80s that blew our minds was when you do win the world title, and we could see that coming. We could see that this was clearly one of the best and top faces of the generation. Right then we knew that. But you only held it for 4 days, and I saw recently, and I know that this may be old news to some, but that's fine. Harley Race stated in a shoot interview regarding that title switch that it was a way to ensure a power struggle in the Georgia territory that ended with the famous promoter Jim Barnett, coming out on top. And if I can quote Mike here, 4 days holding the title, what the fuck? What is the story behind why you only held the title for 4 days?
To be honest with you, I don't know because I'm not into the politics of it. But I think a lot of it had to do, I mean, you look at what Flair did. I mean, going town after, night after night wrestling in Charlotte, then going to Tampa. Same thing Harley Race did. To me, Harley Race, the greatest world heavyweight champion there ever was to me. Because he gave me an opportunity. Every time I worked with Harley, I mean, he gave me a chance to go out there and show the people like what I could do. Because Harley would wrestle to anybody's style. Rick would wrestle Rick's style. And everybody had to wrestle Rick's style, where Harley would adjust to whose style it was, And so I always appreciated that. And like I wrestled Ric Flair a lot. He was a great champion too. But I think the main thing is I was like 20, and I was young, smoking weed, drinking beer, and jumping rope, whatever else was out there, So I wasn't really what you would say would be dependable, and that was a position that you had to be dependable in.
Well, how does the conversation come about, Tommy? Does Barnett come up to you, or does Ole Anderson come up to you and say, "Hey, look, we're going to tag you with the NWA title, but you're going to lose it in a few days because Race is in town"? And like, how does it come about?
I think Harley had mostly it was Harley and Mr. Barnett, is what I think the deal was.
So did they come to you and say, hey, kid?
They told me that night.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
No, I didn't know till that night.
Wow. And what were you like? Were you shitting your pants? Like,
oh, yeah. Shit? I mean, Andre the Giant was there. He held me up over his head. I mean, God, I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid, and get one of the greatest things in professional wrestling. I mean, yeah, I was on top of the world. And, a lot of people say, hey, you didn't hold it for 4 days. But I held it for 4 days, so it is what it is, and I wouldn't take nothing for it. And if I'd have been on top of my game a little better, I might have held it longer. I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm not saying it's nobody's fault. But at that time, I just know it was a lot of responsibility, and I probably wasn't the most responsible person.
But they tell you that night, hey, you're going to become NWA champion. You're like, oh, my God, this is incredible. You win the belt. Do they tell you they're going to take it from you in 4 days, or the night of they tell you?
Not really. That didn't come up till a couple of days later.
Okay. So there was a possibility in your mind. You're like, holy cow, I'm going to have travel to all these territories because I'm the new NWA champion? Or
yeah, a little bit. And like I said, I mean, I was at home in Georgia. I started in Tennessee. I just a old country boy and got an opportunity, man, and it was – and at the time, it might have been bigger than I was, So, I mean, like I said, a couple of days after they let me know we was going to swap it back in Gainesville, Georgia. And, but I could live with it. It was going back to Harley, and to me, that's where it belonged anyway.
Well, we're fans, right? Our show just got popular. We're not like your agent, Eric Sims, ESS Promotion, who's here with you. But we don't consider ourselves part of the industry, but I will tell you, again, being Northeasterners, seeing your name all of a sudden became instant success with us, right? You were Tommy Rich, the NWA champion, and when we finally started getting Georgia Championship Wrestling, you were the guy, right? We were always looking to see Tommy Rich. Listen, Jimmy Farrow, he's a star of our show. He's going to do something called The Juice for all the fans out there. Just go over some career highlights with you. And then we're going to probably take a commercial break, and then we're going to hit you with some questions. What you like, let's have some fun. If you don't want to answer them, of course, you say, I'll pass.
All right, off to the juice, ladies and gentlemen. It feels so anticlimactic, though. I'm not even thirsty right now. And where's my glass?
It's not here, bro.
Oh, for God's sakes. Ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed guest this fine week, Thomas Richardson. And if I get anything wrong, we can yell at Wikipedia. Born July 26, 1956. Of course, we know him as a very famous, infamous wrestling legend. Tommy Wildfire Rich being the nickname. He is the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion back when belts meant much more than they do today. I checked with our esteemed guest before the show, and at least 4 times the Georgia Heavyweight Champion, possibly more.
I wrestled most everybody come through for the titles.
Possibly more. Of course, when I met my partner way back in the day, the center of the universe was not the internet. The center of the universe, folks at home, was the Apter mags. Coming off our most recent guest, Bill Apter, with Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and of course its sister publications, The Wrestler and Inside Wrestling. When I met my partner back in junior high over 40 years ago, Tommy Wildfire Rich was the center of our universe as far as our access to anything that was not WWF, because back in the days when you had to get up and change your channel physically, all we basically had was WWF, and if you switched over to UHF, you might get something called Lucha Libre de Profesional. That was from California, and that was the Olympic Auditorium, and that's where I saw the great John Tolos back in the beginning. So at the center of the universe, pre-internet, was these magazines, and this is where Mr. Wildfire, Tommy Rich, was the most popular PWI, Pro Wrestler of the Year, in 1981, the most improved Wrestler of the Year before that, so you could see it coming in 1979, and the Rookie of the Year before that in 1978. Ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back after this with one of our favorite all-time greats, the former World Heavyweight Champion of this world, Tommy Wildfire Rich. Be right back.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite 4-letter word. California wine New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York, with the very famous, iconic Mr. Tommy Wildfire Rich. Tommy, have you ever been to Ronkonkoma, New York?
I don't even know if I can say that or no, sir, I hadn't. Ron Cockamonka.
Inga Binga Bunga Bong.
Let me ask you, when you obviously you've been in New York, right?
Yes.
Numerous times, but have you ever wrestled on Long Island at all? Do you ever remember coming out here to wrestle?
I don't think so.
No Comac Arena for you.
Queens, when I was wrestling with ECW, I can't, like we do Queens and
that's Long Island technically.
Is that long?
Technically, they were
well, I know we
attached
come
to us.
through it. I knew we come through it coming here.
Yeah.
Well, then I have wrestled in.
Yeah.
Say it.
Long Island,
Say it,
Ronkonkoma?
Say that for me.
God, now he's on you. This is terrible.
No.
Ronkonkoma. Come on. Tommy, I got to ask you, one of my, and he seems to be lost a little bit in the sands of time, and it kind of bothers me because I feel like this man was one of the greatest, intense, what's he going to do next kind of villains ever. Can you talk about Buzz Sawyer?
He was intense, all right.
I know that we'll get into his personality.
Is intense?
But man, on screen,
is intense a different word for high as fuck all the time? Is that like a different like?
He might have had a little blood. That's what made him dangerous.
Yeah.
Like the Road Warriors, you just knew you was going to fight for your life, but you never knew what you was going to get with Buzz. He kind of like that box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but you guys danced for like 2 years, didn't you?
I was the only one that would wrestle him.
So wait a minute. So let me ask you, right?
God.
Professional wrestling, very physical sport. Got to take care of each other.
Okay.
Ready to go to the ring. Buzz is knocking down an 8-ball, and you're like, hey, I'm okay with this. We're going to have a good time. And you're like, what am I doing?
We drew
right
good
now?
money. We drew good money. That's all.
Wow.
Back then, that's all that mattered. You drew good money. But I told that Buzz, too. I told him, I said, you hurt me. And I said, I'm not going to work with you.
Okay.
He knew. I'd see him take advantage of some of them kids. And I told him, I said, I can't work like that. I'm not going to work like that. And he never did. Now, he'd see Harley do a suplex on the floor, and I'd always be his guinea pig for that. And he hurt me a couple of times like that, but never, I don't think intensely. Did he hurt, did he hurt me? Just accidentally, a couple of times.
So, was Buzz a bad guy, though? Like, we've heard stories, and was he just mean and bad with bad intentions?
I don't think Buzz had that many bad. Buzz was just Buzz, and if Buzz liked you, then you was good, and if he didn't like you, then he was going to do what he could. Like if you and me didn't like each other, we probably wouldn't say nothing to each other. But Buzz might go out his way to make your day miserable if he didn't like you.
Okay.
Because he was always good to me, and if I seen he was in too bad a shape, I just went on about my business anyway. So I didn't have him, which I didn't travel with Buzz none. So I can't really tell you. On the road how he was. He went his way and we went our way.
Well, who was your road friend back in those days?
Of course, Nick Patrick. Let's see, my cousin Johnny, Brad Armstrong. Rode a lot with Bob Armstrong when I first started. Of course, with Rick Martel, we traveled a lot together when he was in Georgia.
Okay.
And then Tito Santana, when he was Richard Blood, he come to Georgia, and we traveled a lot together because we teamed up together. And then I traveled a lot, and mostly with Tony Atlas, because we had such a good long run as the tag team champions.
Right. So let me ask you this. Tony, when he was in studio, told a story. I guess he drove off the road. I think you, hit him from behind or something. And he drove off the road and the car flipped.
What did he
And the
do?
Iron Sheik had to pull him out of the car.
My God.
Like, you did something to him that made him drive.
Oh, I wrecked the car.
Okay.
I wrecked the car. He was in the car with me.
Okay, so what's the story?
Okay.
Anyway, that was another time when a little too much partying. We left the building anyway. I run off the road and the car flipped.
Ooh.
And anyway, we had to take it. And it was, it was me, Tony, Nick Patrick, and my cousin Johnny. And Tony hurt his neck. They had to take him to the hospital. And but anyway, yeah, that was on me. That was my bad.
Is it true that the Iron Sheik came down there, though, and, like, ripped the door off to get him out of the car? Or is that kind of fabricated?
Well, I know him and Ole Anderson stopped and helped.
Ah, okay.
So he probably did because the car was upside down, so he had to yank it.
So now what are you guys, upside down in the car? And, like, is someone like, Tommy, what are you doing, pal?
What, they're having a conversation? You're upside down? You should have had that seventh beer? What the
We wasn't really talking. It's kind of like a moment of silence. Yeah. I'm thinking, what am I going to do now? You know.
So what does Arn say to you? Not Arn. What does Ole say to you?
Oh, it was Ole. Oi.
Ole started taking because they thought I was drunk. They say because the cop gave me a DUI. Anyway, long story short, Ole was taking money out of my check every week to pay for the car. Right. And anyway, I went to court. Of course, I wasn't drinking. I just was wore out, tired. And so anyway, they dropped the case, so he had to give me my money back. He didn't like that too much. Me and Ole had that kind of, he loved to use me because I made money, but he didn't like me very much.
How about Ole's rep in general? Ole's not very well liked by most folks.
See, that's why he liked Buzz so good, because Buzz was not liked so much.
Oh, so that
they got along good. Yeah, they got along good. Ole treated him about like his son.
So why didn't he like you? Because he had to pay you back for the...
No, just because he just thought I shouldn't be wrestling. Because I was so little when I went to Georgia, I was like 210, 220, and everybody else was great big guys, and... he just thought, I don't know what he thought. He just didn't think too much of me. But then when he saw I could draw money, then it was all good.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. So I got to ask one more thing about Buzz Sawyer, because I really did enjoy his on-screen performances. If he wasn't who he was behind the scenes with the drugs, his promos were so intense. Would he have been the same character if he didn't have that lifestyle off camera?
I've seen him do promos straight, too. I don't know that it was all the drugs. He was just a different type of individual, He was kind of crazy and out there a little bit, You
worked with one of my favorite tag teams of all time, the Freebirds.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the Freebirds, maybe especially Michael Hayes? How was your relationship with Michael Hayes?
Well, if it wasn't for Big Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes wouldn't have never even been a Freebird. All he could do was talk. I'm sorry if he's one of your heroes. I'm not a fan.
Not a hero.
Tell him the story.
Not a hero, but I did enjoy their work. Right?
Yes.
Michael
they
definitely
won.
had
Big Terry Gordy, if he hadn't went before his time, he was one of the great. He could work as good as anybody in his business, and had the psychology too. But Big Terry started when he was 16. He looked like a man when he was 16.
So did you not get along with Michael though?
I got along with him. He just talks about stuff he don't know nothing about sometimes. Don't say nothing about something if you don't know what you're talking about. And he said a few things about me that he didn't know what he's talking about.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh no, just like the thing with Harley. He said that the referee wasn't supposed to count Harley out. Just different stuff.
Just maybe a little jealousy, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, think about it, right?
He didn't win the
you
world
forever
title.
The NWA. You're an NWA champion, like you said. 4 days, 1 day, 20 hours doesn't matter, right? That's a prestigious title.
Absolutely.
That Michael never got his hands on, right?
And Michael, it's like I said. He was a mouthpiece, and he could run that mouth good, because he could piss anybody off. That's for sure. Not even if he's trying to.
Did he get carried away with the rocks? Did he think he was a rock star behind the scennes? Was he obnoxious like the Axl Rose?
Oh
type?
yeah,
Like he was.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And he loved that. I like to play with a little bit of. I did a little bit of everything, but they was them Tennessee boys. They like that old JD.
Yeah.
And that JD, he drinking thing. He's 10 foot tall, bulletproof sometime.
Right.
And
running around half naked like David Lee Roth.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
Michael Hayes. I could see that.
But you both were Atlanta guys, right? So you guys.
Well, they was, I would wrestle. I was in Georgia, and then I'd go home to Tennessee, and they'd come in. I was there a couple of times with them. I wasn't never around them a whole lot. When they was in Tennessee, they was in Tennessee for a little while when I was there. And then in Georgia, a couple of times they were coming in now. They would be down there for Watts, working, Louisiana, and then they'd come back to Georgia for a while. So everybody kind of traveled. I was lucky. I just had to go, I got to go back home to Tennessee. And then when it got time to go, then I'd come back to Georgia. So, it really worked out, real well for me because I just don't know. I like the guys in Charlotte, man. They did, and in Louisiana, so many miles. They'd wrestle and had to drive 300 miles to the next town. I was in Atlanta, Georgia. Shoot, Monday night we did Augusta, Georgia. That's the reason I never wanted to leave there. That's about 140 miles. Tuesday was Macon. That was 60 miles. Then Wednesday you did Columbus, Georgia, was 110 miles. Then on Thursday they'd run Athens or Rome, Georgia, because they wouldn't carry a show.
So I kind of get the feeling like you were like, you know what? You were okay with losing that title because you didn't want to be traveling around. You were okay just doing that Georgia circuit.
Yes, I love Georgia. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was good to go home to Tennessee, but and I worked some of the other territories. Like I worked, in Kansas City. Mr. Barnett. I worked with some of these promoters, and I'd be pretty close to the top, and I know what some of the others was making. I know what I got paid, and so I can make as much money being home in Georgia as I was being on the road.
Now you're talking my language, bro. You're rolling right into it. What does Tommy Rich make a match? What does Tommy Rich make a year back in 1983, 84?
Shoot, in Georgia, I was making, you'd make 15 to 25 a week.
Nice.
And then when winter hits, you might go down to 1,000, but that's still good money because you're home every night. You're not buying hotels, you're not buying gas, you're not going out having to get hotels.
What was an average match for Tommy Rich? Like average time of a match? You weren't doing 1 hour at Broadway's, right? You were.
Well, I did. When I wrestled, and I wrestled Flair quite a bit, and he always, because he knew I like to party a lot. He said, so they'd tell us to go 30, and he'd take me 45 or 50,
That's a marathon.
But I didn't care because I could go.
Sure.
It didn't bother me. And then Harley would always wrestle me because it was just so smooth. And I enjoyed it, and I never got tired wrestling them because they knew what they were doing. It's kind of like dance. You got one that leads and one that follows. And I was blessed that I got the opportunity to follow, Blackjack Lanza, with Bobby Heenan, man, Baron Von Raschke. I'm talking about, they have characters today, but these guys was Ox Baker, looked like a Neanderthal. They didn't have to get that was them. That was their persona, man. That was their personality. Baron Von Raschke, he looked like a German, sure. And Blackjack Lanza, Mulligan. They look like big old cowboys. That's, and that's the way it was. Everybody. Stan Hansen, he was a big old cowboy.
And Tommy Rich was Tommy Rich. That was you.
Yeah, that was me. And that's. I think that's what the reason I got over so good because they'd seen all these big guys, and they loved me, but they like to see me get my ass kicked a little bit and then fight back.
Sure.
And that's what I did. I never run out of gas, So it was, it was a good combo for me. And like I wrestled Kid Matera, another great one, the one that, in the Olympics and everything else, and that took and showed me things. So I was very blessed to get into business and get the opportunity to wrestle the guys that I did, and I respect every one of them.
So let me ask you, let's go back a little bit. You mentioned Andre, you mentioned Ric Flair. Did you go out partying with these guys?
Yeah, me and Rick Martel every time, Rick French Canadian, and I remember one night we was wrestling at the Omni, and because every time Andre come in, we'd have to take him out. I mean, we didn't have to, but we did because you love Andre. And so one night, it was a Sunday, and we did the Omni. And you always had to dress nice, you know, for the Omni. So I went that day and bought me a powder blue, didn't have a vest, but like a little suit thing. And so we go to the Omni, we wrestle, and there's this place called Kelly's, a little Irish bar. Well, they close at 12 on Sunday because everything closes on Sunday at 12. So we get there and we drink and carrying on. All of a sudden they say last call, and Andre say, "Hey, boss, let's go to this after Irish bar." And me and Rick looked at each other. I didn't even know there was no after Irish bar, you know, on Sunday in Atlanta. Sure enough, here we go. We go over there and we start drinking. I said, heck with it. I said, give me a vodka and grapefruit juice. And I took it and I just killed it. I told Andre, I said, look, ain't wasn't even nothing in there. He told that guy, he said, he had him pour another one, and they put about that much grapefruit in it, and I had to drink it. Oh. So anyway, a little later on in the night, I'm feeling really bad, so I hit that bathroom, and it don't have but one stall and then one of them little pee things, you know. So somebody's in there, and I can't get in, so I just go to the little urinal thing, and I'm throwing up, man. All of a sudden, I hear somebody in that other one throwing up. All of a sudden, they open my door, and it's Rick Martel. Andre, they got us both sick. As you come in the door, there was like a bench here and a bench here, a little L shape. I was laying on one. Oh, no, so we got over that and come back out at the bar, and it got about 3 o'clock. And at 3, they start cooking breakfast. So Andre says, you want something to eat? And they started cooking that bacon there. I had to run to the bathroom again. Son, me and Rick both, I came out. Rick didn't get sick, but he went outside. He couldn't smell it either. He was laid on one bench. I was laid on the other. And Andre comes out. He picks Rick up in one arm, picks me up in the other one. And Rick had a 72 or 3 Thunderbird back then. And carried us the car, and I didn't even know Andre could drive. I got in the back seat. Rick was in the front seat on the passenger side, and Andre drove us back. In my little suit thing, in the back seat, the window didn't open about that far, a little smoking window. And I got to having him heave. I spit up all over my dead girl jacket and everything. Next day, I was going to take it to clean. I said, hell, I just throwed it in. It says $100 down the drain. Oh, you know, I just threw it away, yeah. But, yeah, Andre, man, he was great. I had a van, and anytime he'd come in the back, it had a table, and you take it down, there's a little horseshoe there. So we put cushions in it, and Andre'd sit down in there and throw his arms up there, and we'd take off and go wherever we needed to go, you know. Yeah, Andre was very good people.
Wow. How about Ole Anderson one more time, if we can bring him up? He claims to have had a huge, this is his word supposedly, huge part in making your career. That true or false? Is that fair for him to say that?
Well, it's fair because he was the booker. I mean, you know.
There you go.
So, like I said, he didn't like me at first, but
that's
when
one for Ole. One for Ole.
You know, yeah. I mean, and he did. And me and him, I'd say, me and him didn't go to dinner together no time. Mm-hmm. You know, but as far as business, I was always business. He was always business with me. But, I mean, we didn't have dinner with each other, you know.
He saw you were worth dollars, though.
Yeah, yeah. And that's you know, and at first he wanted to let me go, and Mr. Barnett, he says, I want to keep the kid, and say anyway, and then like the first night I came to Atlanta from Tennessee, you know, I was just 18 and or 19, and I had to wrestle Abdul the Butcher, and Jerry Jarrett told me, he said, if you get there and things ain't going right, he said, call me and I'll get you back here. I went out there, wrestled Abdul. He beat me in 30 seconds, busted my head. Tony Atlas saved me. I thought, oh, God, I need to call him right now. I should have called him before I went out here. But anyway, I never called him and stuck it out. And then me and Tony clicked. And it just, you know, it was just Georgia was ready for some Tommy Rich, you know.
We got a fan out there, Modern Day Warrior, he asks, Tony Atlas and Paul Orndorff had a fight.
and he wants to know if Tony lost his ear, and if Tommy cried, that's why B. Brian Blair said happened. I don't know.
What on
Is there
earth?
a Tony Paul Orndorff fight that?
There's a Tony Paul Orndorff fight, but you'll have to get them to tell you that story.
Okay.
But I didn't cry, and Tony didn't get his ear bit off. I tell you that much. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Hey man.
I mean, I didn't want to see him fight, but they got out there and tussled a little bit. But
Was he wearing his
two
toe-
grown
his
men
toe
on the
sandals?
testosterone was zooming.
Oh, my
So
A lot of juice going on back then, right?
yeah.
All right, we'll be back right after this commercial break.
Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you.
And Verola Worldwide Logistics for all your logistic needs. Please call 862-227-3670. Once again, that's 862-227-3670. Verola Worldwide Logistics.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. And we are with our special guest, the iconic former NWA heavyweight champion, Tommy Rich. So, Tommy, The Pharaoh's the star of the show. He's the master pro wrestling expert. I'm just the fat guy that sits to his left. But the thing that's important to me, though, is the most important thing is the ring rats, man.
How did I know?
What was life? Tommy Rich, single guy with the ring rats, town to town in Georgia.
You were a bit of a rock star yourself there, big guy.
Yeah,
Go on.
What was it like?
Let's have it.
Easy with that big guy.
I didn't mean it like that.
I'm about big as Monty.
My God!
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh. No, seriously though, you're good looking at the top in Georgia Champion. The girls used to scream for you. So let's have it. How was it?
Well, I had just as many grannies with canes beating Ole Anderson up when I wrestled him too. I mean,
you didn't take the grannies home though. Let's talk about the younger ones.
Like, so you're at a bar, man. Like, what's it like? Are girls just coming up to you?
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, yeah.
Was it mind blowing? I mean, you
Yeah,
said you
it was-
had to go from one level of popularity to oh
Well,
my God status.
I'll give you a quick story.
Well, let me give
you
you
like
a scenario. I
this?
want to hear the story, but here's my scenario, right? So there's Michael P.S. Hayes, right?
Well, he's in this.
He thinks he's a stud.
He's in this.
And there's the hot Tommy Rich. Have at it. Let's hear it, brother.
I'm wrestling. We're in Wheeling, West Virginia.
All right.
When right next to the building is a Holiday Inn, and we stay there every time we come to town.
Perfect.
So, Holiday Inn, they bars ain't never really hopping, no way. It's just for folks that stay there. Anyway, I told them people that night, I said, if I fill this bar up tonight, do the boys get to drink for free? And they said, yeah, like laughing at me. And so when I went out to the ring, I was wrestling Buzz that night. I grabbed that microphone. I got in a little trouble over that too, but anyway, because Oda didn't tell me to say it. I said, Buzz, Sawyer, after I kick your ass tonight, we going next door to the bar at the Holiday Inn. Them people at Holiday Inn was so mad, they had to call extra security. There were people. The bar was so full you couldn't serve nobody. The outside was just as full. And when we got out of the car, we had to take off running because the people was coming at us. I mean, you talk about like rock stars, and that's the only time I really was. And I was kind of like scared. I've been been a bad guy and had the people pissed off, ready to jump on me. But just in people chasing, and we run down this hallway. Michael was somewhere, and he took off running too. And we was following him. He run down the doggone dead end. We was all standing. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was a different world there. I mean, it's that was a lot of our business.
Well,
Was,
Flair
you know,
used to do that crap to you guys all the time, right? When he used to be in Georgia Championship Wrestling, he'd be like, I'm staying at this hotel tonight, and he'd make sure the girls were coming too, right?
Oh, yeah.
He dropped that on the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you would do that just to plug stuff sometimes, and it was good. It just, them people at the Holiday Inn didn't expect the turnout that they got, so that wasn't really a good situation. I got told not to do that no more.
Listen, as long as you're out of the zip code, it doesn't count.
So that's what I thought.
That's right. Yeah. You got my backing on that. You won't get in trouble. Just as long as you're out of the zip code, you're good to go.
Apply that all over Long Island.
Absolutely.
You can go from town to town. Oh, that would not. That sounds dangerous. Tommy, I got to ask you, how is it that a former NWA champion and the biggest face of Georgia Championship Wrestling never eventually wound up in the WWF? No Vince. What's the story?
That's a good question.
What's the story? Growing up with Vince, I always wondered.
Roddy Piper had me booked once or twice. Roddy Piper, another great one we lost too, by the way. Love you, brother, man. But Roddy had me booked there once or twice, and Ann Gunkel had opened up a territory in Georgia. And, I'm a cornbread boy,
New York just wasn't for you?
It wasn't really my cup of tea, and she gave me an opportunity and put me on a guarantee that was really good, and we wasn't working but about once a week, if that, and that lasted for a year. So then by the time that was over, I was doing something else, and then I went to ECW, and so it just, the cards never really fell.
But did you ever get the call? Like, I know Roddy tried to book
No,
you,
Roddy, that was as far as it ever went. Roddy tried to get me to come, and it just, they never called me, and I never called them. That's
so
about,
looking back, do you wish that you would have went to the WWE? Or let me ask you this: you're an old timer NWA guy, right? So growing up, the NWA was always the main focus of wrestling fans.
In the mag days,
in the
it
mags,
was
right?
considered the biggest.
We were WWE guys again. Think
Right.
about like Yankees, Red Sox. Like we were anti-NWA. Fair enough to say, right?
Yeah, well, it was company. It was territories
Right.
back in those days. So, of course, we sided more with Vince. We grew up watching and going to the Garden.
But now that the WWE is one of the only games in town, we know AEW is coming around. But was New York, in the mind of a wrestler,
the Mecca,
the place, the Mecca? You had to be there because.
Oh, it was and I guess I'd be crazy to say no, but it's like I had a bunch of opportunities to go to Japan, and I just didn't. The money was great, but I didn't like being gone, so I didn't go near as much as a lot of guys did. I went a couple of times for Baba, and the first time I went for 6 weeks. And there wasn't nobody on the trip that I knew.
Oy.
And so I was begging to go on then.
Yeah.
And then, but when it went to the 3 and 4 week tours, it wasn't so bad. But I had just different things going on, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. Let's say.
You're a family guy, I could tell, right?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
do I kick myself in the ass for it? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I know I should have went.
Right.
But at the same time, hell, I could have got over there and died because I was miserable,
Sure.
So I just, you say, would you change anything? And
so
we can't change the stuff no way, but I really don't. There might be a couple of things I might do different.
Again, WWE guys, Madison Square Garden. We're from New York, right?
Sure.
Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. Was the Omni the Mecca for NWA guys, or was it Texas? Like, what was considered the Mecca to wrestling?
Well, I'd say Georgia TV was the Mecca, because guys like Dusty, they all wanted to be on that TV because they all like to travel around. And if you was on that TV, sounds like talking to Terry Funk one day. Him and Dory, Terry makes pretty good friends, and he told me he come in to do TV one time. And he said, man, you need to come out and work for us. He said. They were going to some town and pulled in a store, and the girls knew who they were, and they wanted to know did they have Tommy Rich in the car with them.
Right.
So some missed opportunities there that I think, but at the end of the day, I still traveled. I just didn't have to go and work in territories, So that was good for me, And like I said, there was a couple of promoters that didn't want to pay me, so I didn't go no way. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't have no regrets.
On the subject of promoters, you obviously worked with the great Jerry Lawler, Paul Heyman. ECW is my absolute favorite. And, of course, Mr. Barnett. Can you compare those guys to me a little bit about, what it was like to work with each of them and their differences in approach to the business, perhaps?
Well, Mr. Barnett, you figure when Mr. Barnett started 17, Ted Turner was cable before cable was cool.
Mm-hmm.
He had nothing on that cable station. So only thing he had was Braves baseball and Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
And the Braves, bless their heart, that's when they were just gosh off.
They were not so good.
So 17, I'd say it was image to Mr. Barnett. He liked the politics of it. I mean, the glitter, the glamour, and he took that Georgia Championship and made it a product that you could sell all over the country. He could have done what Vince done way before he did it. He could have went to all these towns because he had a TV that went everywhere. But because it was NWA and territories, he didn't want to step on no one's feet. So I look at that because, like, toward the end, when Mr. Barnett was out of it, Ole was running like we'd run Ohio, but Sheik had shut down. Mr. Barnett asked me one time, he said, would I go up and work for Mr. Farhat, Eddie Farhat, because they were friends. And he was losing, and Mr. Barnett wanted to help him. So anyway, I went up and did a show at a National Guard Armory, and they had as many people outside as they did inside. So, and like Kansas City, Bob Geigel, I went up and worked for him some when they were, because I didn't mind doing that, because if there was money there, they would always pay me. But when there was money there and I didn't get paid, I took offense to it. I didn't ever say nothing about it. I just remembered who did it.
Speaking of not getting paid, how was it like working with Paul Heyman? Did you ever have to experience that?
That was the greatest. That was the greatest job.
He
in the
paid
world.
you on time.
Yeah, well, Paul, he managed me and Austin Idol. Managed us. So I knew him, and then I think Tommy Dreamer may have had something to do with me coming in too.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that was the greatest job in the world. I ain't never managed. I wish I was still doing that.
But I find it strange, right? You never wanted to leave the South, but now you're coming out northeast to wrestle for
right.
an up and coming.
Well, it was just for the weekends, though.
Okay.
They had the best deal in the world. You come out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and go home Monday.
There you go. Okay.
And I was making good money for 3 days a week. They paid me good, and so I loved working at ECW, and all the guys. They might have been a wild bunch, but they was all pretty cool,
How'd you feel about being a full-blooded Italian when they approched you with that?
What you talking about, baby? I'm the big dog.
Hilarious.
You want to go get a slice after this is over?
Go. Oh, my
Tommy,
God.
You were, for the longest time, probably the hottest baby face in the NWA.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
When did it start to slip away?
I guess when it became WCW. And that's when the territories were going under too. It just wasn't nothing there. I went home. And, I guess USWA, was the last on the block, really.
Yeah.
Because I went there and worked. We still worked our regular, 5-6 days a week. And then when that ended, I don't remember what year I went to ECW, but I came back to Georgia and was just working independence, and then they called, and I got the opportunity to come up there, and it was really good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Some of it might be a blur, but it was fun, And that's what I've always. I've always had fun in this business. It ain't never been like a job, and I've been around some. And I ain't. There's a couple of peckerheads, but you don't have to deal with them. But as a whole, I'd say there might have been 2 rotten apples in the barrel, But as a whole, I never had no problems with nobody. Everybody was always, very nice to me, and especially the older guys, I listened, and they critique and tell me what I need to do better, and so hands-on learning's the best in the world, and I got to learn from the best. I enjoyed it.
So needless to say, if you went back in time, you would not change anything.
Nah, I really don't think I would. I mean, maybe went to Japan a little bit more, but not nothing major. I wouldn't.
Careful, Stan Hansen was over in Japan, and he still couldn't see who he was hitting. Be very careful with that one.
All right, well, we're in the ninth inning, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tommy Rich.
Ninth inning. Call in Mariano.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV, but this is a Friday, and we are honored to have former NWA champion Tommy Rich. And notice to his right is super promoter Eric Sims. But before we get to Eric Sims, Tommy,
yes,
you're in an industry that's kind of a different type of world. So many wrestlers that you've known have passed. How do you, and that you've been probably very close with. How do you handle this? I mean, it's got to be heart-wrenching on an almost regular basis.
Yeah, it's I figured I'd be one of the first ones to go, and I've seen, so many, especially in my age group that and it's sad is what it is. And, I mean, you just got to get up, put your shoes on, and go about another day, man, because bottom line is, in this world, especially today, ain't nobody promised tomorrow, and I just try to live the best I can and do the things I need to do and hopefully wake up in the morning.
How's your physical condition, currently, after all those years of bumps and punches and kicks? How do you feel nowadays physically?
Well, I mean, some mornings you get up and, the body's hurting, but like I said, I've been able to do it for, I was in a 6-man tag in Jackson, Tennessee this past weekend.
Wow.
Cage match.
A cage match? He feels fine.
Jerry the King Lawler, Rock and Roll Express against Dangerous Doug Gilbert, Matt Rivera, and myself. It was an outdoor show. It was Jerry Lawler's 50 years of wrestling.
You at the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, 50 years of wrestling. We did a cage match. They had a little over 2,200 people there. Nice. And they did and I'm telling you, I mean, and 25 is all they could have. 2,500 is all they was allowed. So it just 40 years later, and the wrestling fans out there still know who we are, man. God bless, and thank y'all for being there, because without them, they ain't know us to begin with,
Amen. One last question for you before you go, and thank you for coming down. This has been freaking fantastic. Gordon Soley, greatest announcer of all time. What says Wildfire?
Greatest announcer of all time. I love Gordon Soley. I mean, you talk about Bill Apter, he can make you or break you in a wrestling magazine. On that mic, Gordon Soley, he can make you or break you. And all the years I was there, you know, he always never had nothing but good things to say about me. I'd take it like, if I had time, like a lot of times we had to do a Columbus TV, and it was live, so you'd have to leave in your tights and haul butt. You'd have time to hit Mickey D's or something, grab a burger, and haul butt to make that live TV. But if I happened to not be on TV, I'd always take Gordon to the airport after the show. You know, yeah, I love Gordon Soley to death.
All right, to your right is the Northeast's greatest pro wrestling promoter and friend of the show, Mr. Eric Sims. Eric, how are you, buddy?
Good, how are you?
All right, what's going on?
All right, before we get into the plugs, and just want to do a quick shout-out to Tracy Smothers, who was supposed to be touring with us this weekend. Unfortunately, he became ill and had to be hospitalized, so we just send our thoughts and prayers out to Tracy, and hopefully he gets better, and we can bring him on tour in the future if he's well enough. So just everybody just say a little prayer for Tracy, and hopefully hopefully he kicks out of what's going on with him. So anyway, on to the tour for this weekend. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Wildfire is going to be doing a virtual on the KNS webpage, KNS WrestleFest webpage. We're going to be doing a virtual 9:30 in the morning. So join us on the Facebook Live on the KNS WrestleFest page, 9:30 to 11:30.
As Freddie Miller would say it, don't miss it, be there!
Exactly, Bubba. Oh, Daddy. Oh, you know, baby. You know. Anyway,
Sims, you look a little out of it today. All right. What's going on?
Anyway,
come on, Sims. Live up.
1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We're going to be at the Wrestling Universe, my home away from home, and FBI reunion. Two-thirds of the FBI reunion with Wildfire, the Don, Tommy Rich, and Little Guido from ECW, and then at 6 o'clock at night, we're going to be down in Ocean Gate, New Jersey.
Nice.
Val's Pals Go to War. It's a special charity wrestling show for our friend, our pal Val, who's a 17-year-old young man who has cerebral palsy, and all the local wrestling promotions are getting together and putting on a big show. And we got the FBI as a special guest down there, along with a couple other surprises. And please join it. It's a good cause, and we're going to be down in Ocean Gate at the EMS Field, 107 East Cape May Avenue, in Ocean Gate, New Jersey. So come on down there. We're going to be signing autographs, and who knows what could happen, in the ring. You never know. You may see Wildfire in the ring. You never know.
Well, I was thinking, but what do you think, Wildfire? You think you could get Sims to tag team with you, and you guys could be a tag team?
What?
Honorary FBI member?
I think that would be a great idea. I was talking to Eric one morning.
Looks Italian, okay.
Female breast inspector, FBI, what?
You about as Italian as Tommy.
You could be. This could be a great tag team.
He likes pizza, I know that.
Pizza! I love pizza! I love pizza.
Gonna hit him with a foreign calzone object.
Anyway, catch Tommy Wildfire on KNS in the morning for virtual, and then catch him at Wrestling Universe as the reunion of the FBI is involved. We want to thank you, Tommy, for coming in.
Thank you.
You are
Thank y'all for having me, man.
Wait a second, I got to plug ESSpromotions.com, and as always, it's no BS, because you heard it from your cult hero, ESS.
All right, you've been watching Monte The Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. You can catch Monte The Pharaoh on the Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live, Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. By the way, there will be a schedule change. We are now going to 7 o'clock. Early risers on Saturday, 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., Channel 115, and on Channel 20. You also can catch us at 1:30 in the morning. You will catch Wildfire, Tommy Rich, and Icon on our special cable shows. Once again, this has been Mike Monty.
This has been The Pharaoh. Stay tuned for The Rocker, Marty Jannetty. See you soon.
Oh, boy. Not good.
Later.